Three, two, one. Let's go. Here we are. The Sweet 16 is upon us. The 16 teams are now in there. Welcome to 411 Sports World Show. The calculator's in the house with Mr. 411. What's going on, calculator?
Greetings and salutations, as always, Mr. 41. This is kind of the first time we wanted to do a reaction show. Usually, it's one and done, but it's like there was so much. I know it's cliche with everybody saying this is one of the wildest. No, this is one of the wildest opening weekends I can remember. Yes, a lot of chalk hit on that Friday, but just how the chalk hit was pretty amazing. On just we had comebacks, we had just under half court shots. Then we had half court shots that looked like were going in, didn't come in. We had 3-pointers to what you thought was going to win game. It doesn't
Yeah.
win the game. It was truly a remarkable. And then, of course, to almost do a nightcap, a number one seed going down before the Sweets. Not only just any number one seed, but a team that was trying to repeat as champion. But hey, as I already said, you got to hit your free throws. You don't hit your free throws, you have nobody to blame but yourself, Mr. 411.
That's right. And yeah, we'll definitely, dive into some of the matchups. And you're absolutely right. I mean, for me, as you'll see here shortly, it's all the power for whatever you want to call them, teams that have advanced once again to the Sweet 16. But it's how some of these teams got there that made it interesting, and we'll definitely get into that. But there's the Sweet 16, man. Those are the teams right there that survived so far.
You don't see Florida in there. That's what's,
Yeah, we don't.
you don't see Kentucky. You don't see some of those. You don't see the Kansas. Kansas is in there. Of course, Kansas. That lately, I don't. I think Bill Self's getting to the point where he just might have to retire because he said it's getting so nerve wracking because he was saying he had such a good practice after that opening. Well, first of all, they almost lost that first game. We want to talk about epic comebacks. They were cruising with 20 plus points, and then California Baptist. California who? Yes, California Baptist come all the way back with the one man who almost stole the show, and then but Peterson bails him out at the end, But and then a great practice, and if you wanted to watch a snooze fest, well, I wouldn't say a snooze fest, a brick show. It was that Kansas St. John's matchup on Sunday. I'd never seen so many missed shots
Yeah,
left and right. It's like, oh my gosh. And I know Duke has to be salivating. Duke's probably saying, man, this is going to be one of the easiest teams that we've had since we got in there, because Siena gave Duke everything they wanted in that first round. If people saw that game, because that Siena team, Jeremy McNamara had those boys play, and Duke had to sweat that out. Duke kind of, got some control in that second game when they decided to let Cam Boozer take over. Duke has played one good half. That's it. But you know what? It doesn't matter because they're still alive, and that's all that counts. If that one good half is good enough to get you through to the Sweet 16, that's all you can ask for, because it's all about surviving and advancing at this point.
yeah, that's what it is. Survive and move on.
Yep.
The past is the past. That's old news. You know what I'm saying? That some people would say.
Yep.
But yes, the Duke's gonna have to probably wear some of them helmets, man, like the guys wear at the construction sites. Because yes, St. John's and Kansas, man, they were just throwing up bricks. But
Oh my
but
goodness.
hey,
That's
let,
right.
but again, with the 16 that are here now, it is truly the have and have nots. The power four teams have advanced, the ones with money. And some people will say, oh well, Texas, they were 11 seed, and they're the lowest seeded team that advanced to the Sweet 16 this season as a 11 seed. But we know Texas, the University of Texas has money on top of money on top of money, so they're able to pay for players and recruiting and do all
And,
that stuff.
and
So they're not your
yeah,
typical. They're not a
yeah,
typical Cinderella team,
exactly, because in Miss For One, I mean, they just happened to play in one of the best conferences, had a couple off years, but they are
right?
built to be able to win. They got a big guy in the middle that can dominate a game, and they have great guard play, and they have guys that can hit clutch shots like that guy. I mean, they're tough. Texas's toughest game was their play-in game against North Carolina, where they would had to get a late bucket to survive in advance. And then they said, "Oh man, that's all we got to do," because they took care of business their next 2 rounds. Especially against Gonzaga. And we said it on the show. If people, you can fact check us if you want. Go and listen to the show. We said, hey, we picked Gonzaga. I'm not gonna lie, because you can't get away from who you pick. But I said on the show that the size could give Gonzaga a problem if Texas won their first matchup. And when I say first matchup, the matchup after the North Carolina State game, which they led pretty much wire to wire in that game. Matter of fact, would have won more comfortably if their center, who's a 70% free throw shooter, had hit any of his 8 free throws in the second half. I mean, they literally, it was so bad. They did the old hack-a-shack philosophy against Texas in that first round. They were just hacking them to put them on the free throw line because they couldn't stop them inside, and they didn't want any of those guards to get the ball. And then finally, they had a comfortable enough lead. They said, okay, we can't take a chance with him missing any more free throws. It was a mind thing because against Gonzaga, he was hitting the free throws, so that's just, they always say when you miss like those first 4, if you miss like 4 in a row, then it's in your head the rest of the game, and that was clearly it.
It's like playing golf calculator.
That's right. That we they say you don't want to say it out loud, but there is such a thing as the yips when it comes to basketball free throwing, and as you said, putting in golf, you can have the yips.
Yeah. Any teams surprise you though that have advanced thus far?
Nebraska, yes. And the reason I say that is because, hey, we picked them on the show. But the only reason we picked them on the show, Tyrone, for one, is because nobody was picking them,
right?
Including myself. I was so surprised. But hey, they did what Wisconsin couldn't do. They are built just like Wisconsin. They're a 3-point shooting team. But the difference between Wisconsin and Nebraska didn't play another team that got hot, because Wisconsin in that High Point game, which was another amazing game, High Point was hitting those shots. Nebraska's 2 first opponents didn't. But another team that comes to mind, another 4 seed, Alabama. Very surprised about Alabama because they're missing their point guard, right? I mean, he got hurt, or not got hurt. He got suspended with having a lot of unprescribed substances on the premises. And if when you're missing your point guard, and not only your second leading scorer, but Alabama is one of those teams that they're built differently. Their hardest game was against Hofstra. Speedy Claxton gave Bama everything they wanted, but Bama's 3-point shooting in the second half got them on. But you know what? Their 3-point shooting stayed hot in that Texas Tech, and Texas Tech had no answer without having to. And we said that in our preview show as well. Tompkins, a top 5 player on the team, not being there really hurt them. But let's look at that whole bracket as a whole. Can there be any other lucky team than Michigan? And what you might say, calculator. Was Michigan, Alabama's still missing their number 2 scorer. Yes, they got Higgins, but do you think they're going to be able to get second chance points against a Michigan front court? That
front line.
Not that front line. I mean, no. And then, okay, yeah, you have Tennessee and Iowa State. Iowa State, in my opinion, power rated was the top number 2 seed. But as you saw, Mr. Floyd, when you saw the game, their best player got hurt in the first round. And I'm sorry, Iowa State cannot compete against a Michigan. They're going to have trouble against Tennessee without Mr. Jackson. So that's why I think Michigan, and I'm going to say Duke as well. The reason I say Duke was an easy region. Duke, all they said about Duke is, oh, you have Bill Self, you have Rick Pitino, you have Dan Hurley, you have the Michigan State coach. I mean, you have all these guys. These guys are bad. I mean, team-wise, shooting poorly. St. John won on defense and Kansas missing shots. Michigan State won on defense, and UConn won because Caravan, who's been there, seemed like for 8 years, had a career-high game. That's not going to happen against a Duke team. You're not going to have career games. Oh, yeah, UConn survived that first round matchup because Thompson, Reed, their center, they couldn't guard that guy. He got 35 points, 25 rebounds. I mean, they could not stop it. It got to the point where they just started throwing it into him, and he kept just throwing it up. But you know what? Reed showed that was an anomaly because in the next game against in their second matchup, he couldn't hit anything against UCLA. UCLA actually, and UCLA is one of those. Of course, UCLA didn't have their big man as well, but it didn't matter because Reed couldn't hit a shot. But Caravan again, he came in, saved the day, career high in points, and then their all-star freshman Mullins actually started hitting shots too. UConn can be dangerous when they're hitting shots. They just don't consistently hit shots. They hadn't all year. They've been very inconsistent, and I think they got fortunate by not UCLA not having their big guy and Furman not having the personnel to match up to UConn's big guy. But now, hey, Michigan State, they have the big guys, and we picked Michigan State on the bracket because a lot of people were still going with that UConn team, and I'm sorry, UConn has not impressed me as much, and that's why I think Izzo is going to keep the thing going. But sorry, Duke is still the class of that region.
All right, well, calculator. Let's move forward and move into the bracket, man.
Yeah. So we talked about the Duke bracket. It's just our bracket still set pretty good. We still have, we have Kansas. Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, I did. Hey, if anybody saw that, another comeback. St. John's had Kansas buried. But those and it was non-Peterson guys that got them back, and I think that's what Self kind of took Peterson to side. Hey, I know you love to shoot the ball, but you're not there. Set other guys up, and Peterson worked as a facilitator, and that's what caused the comeback. And Kansas almost won the game, Mr. 411. I was up on my seat that last 90 seconds because I said, "Oh my gosh, we have a chance," because we faded the favorites in St. John's, and yes, to come back to bite us. But again, I'm not too worried because we still have Duke as the class, and we still have Michigan, and we picked chalk, but hey, chalk is sometimes what wins you the game. But hey, we were going against, even though UConn is the chalk in this. Again, I like Tom Izzo. I like his. They got the better backcourt, and they have two big guys they can throw at the one big guy UConn has. And UConn, again, if they go through a drought against Michigan State, it's going to be all she wrote. But hey, the surprise, and we said on our preview show, folks, go and look back at us. We tried to give you the lowdown. We said the madness is going to be in the South. We said that's the one where pick the guys that go against the grain and see what happens. Well, you can say, well, we didn't pick a game against Florida. We kind of did because we didn't have Florida going to the out of that bracket. We have them losing. But guys, that's our surprise team. Illinois against Houston. Hey, we picked chalk. The St. Mary's kind of let us down. Buckyball survived against St. Mary's, but I know whoever was playing Houston in the second round. But here's our leverage, Mr. Foreman. We still got a shot at winning it, at least getting top 5. If you're in the bigger pools and you look at payout structure, a lot of times top 5's in the money, and that's what we're trying to get into the money right now. We had Illinois beating Houston. This is the game we're going to be watching, Mr. 411. This is what's going to decide our bracket. If Illinois doesn't win, we don't have a shot, even if Michigan wins it all, because there's a lot of people in the bracket that pick Michigan can win. But how we differentiated was Michigan is taking Illinois as our Final Four. But hey, Nebraska saved us. I talked about it. Hey, if anybody saw another great game, how that guy missed that almost full court shot is still beyond me, because that
thing was the bad board. Yeah.
I mean, how do you hit both sides of the rim and then it rims out? I mean, and you saw the look of the Nebraska player as he's going toward the basket. He had his head down thinking that thing was in, and all of a sudden his teammate had to come and say, "Oh, it didn't go in." He said, "Oh my God." It was just hey, but that was another great game. And folks, Nebraska, the reason they won these last two games, if you watch the game, it looked like they were playing at home, Mr. 411. Those guys traveled the 6 hours it was to get to Oklahoma City. Hey, why would you not, Mr. 411? If they've been saving if you're a Cornhusker basketball fan, you've been saving your money because they've never had an NCAA victory. They say, hey, let's keep going, and they keep winning, So Nebraska, it seemed like the whole field, and I think that home field actually propelled them, because Vandy played a great game. Nebraska just got that one play more, and that's what was another buzzer, almost a game in winner. And Mr. 4-1, I don't know if Andy would hit that shot. I'm almost to the point where, guys, don't leave any time on the time because you never know what's going to happen. Santa Clara low that, but we'll talk about that. But hey, we're still looking good. We still got Illinois going, Florida. But guess what? Everybody have Florida going to the Elite Eight in my bracket or in my pick. So I might not get any points. Well, guess what? Nobody else is getting any points as well. But you know where we're going to pick up the points? Illinois got to beat Houston, because if Illinois beats Houston, I'm sorry, Illinois is favored over Nebraska or Iowa, any one of theirs. It's just they got to get past Houston, and I think they got a shot. Just for one, I don't know if you've seen Illinois play. That looked like an all-European team out there, man.
Yeah, it was.
They went to Croatia and got a bunch of shooters.
Yeah, all the Dragonov and Divock and Stojakovic.
Peja's son is there.
Peja
Stojakovic was in the crowd cheering his son on, and that guy. And if you watch the NBA, Mr. 41, he's an NBA expert. He can put that by his name anytime. He probably still have some of those Peja Stojakovic playoffs on VHS that he goes back and watch when he needs to feel good about a good shoot game. Peja knew how to shoot. Peyton was a bigger guy, and his son's the same way. He can step outside and shoot, and he can drive and do that. But if your last name ends with IK, you were on that team. Illinois has recruited you because they had twin brothers. It literally looked like a Slovakian soccer team out there with their last names. But but they know how to play, Mr. 4-1. And when we got them a bracket, that's all we care about.
Yeah. That's what they're doing.
That's right. They got to make their threes to compete against Houston, because you're not going to get a lot of second points against that front line either, because those guys they rebound. That's actually what beat A&M is. Houston actually had more offensive rebounds than Texas A&M had total rebounds. That's what Houston does. Houston beats you up. But Illinois, I think they can, if they shoot that high percentage, which they've had the last two rounds, that's going to give Houston problems, because Houston is a defensive team. They have one scorer. So if they can shut down that scorer, Fleming, they're fabulous freshman, they can shut down him and limit them to, not as many boards as they got to Texas A&M. Illinois can just outscore them. But hey, Utah State, they gave Arizona all they wanted. This was another hard one for us to stomach in that Wisconsin High Point game, for the mere fact is I was trying to leverage them against Arkansas. It kind of negated my Nebraska call, in that. But that's why you got to take chances, because I said on the show, I'm not. If you're not first or last in a lot of aspects in a bracket pool, so you got to pick your spots. But Arkansas, hey, look phenomenal. What about you, Mr. One? Arkansas, Arizona, is that going to be a good game or what?
I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think Arizona should, at the end of the day, kind of pull away from them. I think Arkansas, of course, having A-Cuff. A-Cuff is the one that everyone's talking about. But I will say this: A-Cuff scored 34, but he gave up 30.
Yeah, he's not. Hey, he's not out there. He's doing the Luka Doncic show. He's out there. Hey, he's going to score his points. Hey, that's true. Hey, but I think I think the reason I do think Arizona is going to beat Arkansas is because Arizona's got the big guy in the middle who just dominated the Utah State game, is what he did. Yeah. Put this way though, I do think if Utah State would have had Aka, they could have pulled an upset against Arizona, because everybody else for Utah State was doing good. They just didn't have that one score.
They need a dynamic player. Yeah. They didn't have the NIL money that Calipari has laying around.
You said Calipari, he leaves $100 bills sticking out of his falling out of his pocket as he leaves his recruiting trips. Just let people know. But Arkansas plays a 7-man rotation. So they're gonna. I think Arizona could kind of fatigue them. And what I mean is Arizona's got 3 good guards and freshmen. But this late in the season, Mr. 4-1, are you really a freshman? I don't know. You played a lot of games so far this year, and you played a lot of AAU games and stuff like that. So I think Arizona kind of got their cobwebs cleared in that Utah State game. I think they'll be ready for Arkansas, although I think Arkansas is going to give them a run for their money, because I like Calipari in the tournament, and I like Calipari with a star point guard. Like I said, I'll bring it up. I said it before. I said it again. I have Derrick Rose flashbacks when I see A-Cuff on the field, where he can sometimes just take over a game. And then Purdue, they're still alive for us. Hey, they don't care. They got Braden Smith. For them to beat Miami was impressive in the form of Braden Smith didn't have his Braden Smith game You know what I'm saying? So they played poorly, but they still won the game. And again, they don't. I think Purdue does have a better shot against Texas than they would have Gonzaga, for the mere play is Gonzaga had a lot of size in the front court, and Texas has a lot of size, but it's their back court. So that's why I think Purdue can kind of. We saw what Purdue can do against a big front line, because Purdue beat Michigan. Well, Texas has a good front court. Well, one guy in the front court, and if Purdue can stay around that one guy, stay away, Braden Smith control the game, have a Braden Smith type game, I think Purdue will survive and advance. And look, I think that'd be a great job. So we just need Purdue and Arizona to hold serve so that they can get us some points. And then the last but not least, we'll go to the misread. Hey, we picked and then I went with the Texas Tech against the Alabama, just because even though we had Alabama, I thought Alabama would miss their second leading scorer, and they didn't against Texas Tech. Texas Tech missed their best player more than Alabama missed their second best player. And Alabama just shot lights out. And I'm sorry, if Alabama shoots like that, they'll give Michigan a run for the money. But hey, if you watch that Michigan St. Louis game, St. Louis shot lights out those first 15 minutes, but Michigan, they weathered the storm, and they just kept scoring with them. But you know the thing, the difference between Michigan and St. Louis cooled off. Michigan didn't, because Michigan just has so many different ways to score with Lindenhurst and Mara and just big guy after big guy, and then a good solid a point guard that can handle the ball. I just don't see how. Well, Texas, I don't see how Alabama can compete, because Alabama, again, they were with Texas Tech big guy not being out there. Alabama could get those rebounds and get second shots. Not going to get the same chance against Michigan. I think Michigan beats Alabama and beats them fairly close in that game when they play. And then, hey, Tennessee was our fade. That's why we picked up some more points in our bracket, because we did fade the Tennessee Virginia. We said it on the show by KenPom ratings. Virginia was a little weaker of a 3 seed. Tennessee should have been I actually had Tennessee as a 4 or 5 on my line. Very surprised they got the 6 seed, but I know they're not complaining, because it put them in what a more favorable bracket, in that they got a weaker 6 seed, kind of reward for you for getting job with a 6 seed. You get a weaker 3 seed. Hey, but that was a great game too. But you know what Tennessee did that Florida didn't do? Tennessee made their foul shots at the end to where Virginia, and it didn't help that Virginia's best shooter missed some shots at the end. That basically he won them the rights, because Wright State gave Virginia everything they wanted, but the guy kind of their point guard was shooting very good, keeping the game, but he kind of cooled off in the Tennessee game. And Tennessee just plays that tough defense, and again they made their foul shot. And Iowa State, we had to pick it. I thought Iowa State again, my best rated number 2 seed. That's why they think Michigan have. But when you lose your best player, just ask Texas Tech. It might not have effect against Kentucky. It might not have an effect against Tennessee State. It could have an effect against Tennessee, because what's the difference between Tennessee and Kentucky? Well, first of all, Kentucky was lucky to get there. People saw that Kentucky Santa Clara game. Hey, we were robbed, Mr. 411. This one was one of our specials. Santa Clara hit that shot, left 2.2 seconds, and enough for Ua to get the ball, get past half court, pull up from the logo, and hey, and Mr. 411, me and you were texting during that game. He didn't call bank, man. He didn't call backboard. He shouldn't be allowed that. But you know what? It counted anyway, and that kind of broke my heart. I was happy for Kentucky. My mother-in-law is a Kentucky fan, so I was happy for that they were able to pull it out. But yeah, Kentucky, that was another great game. I was really hoping Santa Clara, because Santa Clara was one of those leverage spots. I thought I saw good value in that particular, but hey, that's why they call it madness, right? You're not going to win all of them. But hey, right. I think Iowa State survive in advance, because Tennessee, I think Tennessee can win this game because they're missing Jackson. Now, it is a low ankle sprain. Lindenhurst for Michigan, same type of injury in the Big Ten tournament, came back the next week, and he looked like he was completely healthy. So we'll see if it's there is a difference between low ankle sprain and high ankle sprain. But from way Jackson was out, I don't even they're not even talking about him. So I don't think he'll be there. And if he's not there, I think Tennessee can take business, but hey, regardless, because that's all that's going to do is it's going to help us with our Michigan path. If it's easier for Michigan path because we have Michigan winning it all, that's good for us. And hey, and you know, and then we got the final. If you look at our Final Four, if we can get to Illinois, if we can get this Final Four, and we're in the money. And well, put it this way: if we get this Final Four, and Michigan beats Arizona, we're in the money because a lot of people in this particular bracket picked Arizona, like we predicted. A lot of people picked Duke, which we predicted, and that's why we went with Michigan. But the Illinois folks, we said it at the beginning of the show, at our first show on Wednesday. Illinois is our spot. He's out there. That's our calling card. And with Florida, even if we're not picking up those points, a lot of people aren't picking those Florida points, but all that Florida loss did was get an easier path for Illinois. So yeah, we need Illinois to take care of business to Houston. Mr. 4-1, I know me and you probably be texting back and forth during that game because I'm going to be on pins and needles for that game, Mr. 4-1.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, man. But it's looking good, man. Hey, excellent
as
job,
long as
man.
we got all four still in there, we're looking good, and that's all you can do. But you know, Mr. 4-1, I had Todd out there, and I had people out there saying, John, why'd you pick this Santa Clara over Kentucky? I say I didn't pick it. Math picked it. You know, math picked this bracket. But you know what? Math is looking really good right now because they got all four in there, and as long as we still got guys dancing, we still got a chance, and that's all you can ask for at this point. If you're at the Sweet 16 and you still got all your Final Four team alive, you got a chance, and that's all you can ask for.
Yep, that's it. That's all you can ask for, calculator.
Yep.
All right. Well, we're gonna see how everything lands in a couple days. Yep. Man, this tournament, man, so far is off and running. Some good matchups, some good games, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with some of these teams. And look, the way it's looking, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you hear Purdue that continue to advance somehow, some way. Don't be surprised
if you see that. Tournament. Yeah, look what they did in the Big Ten tournament. I mean, look at what the Big Ten has done. The Big Ten, Iowa still in there, Nebraska still in there, Michigan. I mean, Big Ten, and it was funny. I was texting this before. I said, "Dang, I just looked at my bracket. We are Big Ten heavy." So I said, we need
look right there.
And yeah, Larry, and Purdue still in it. So being Big Ten heavy actually helped us out. But you know, that's what the math told us. The way the matchups were falling, it's like the public was fading the Big Ten, Mr. 4-1. So what do when the public fades? We'll gladly take the coin flip and go the other way. And so far so good, if I do say so myself.
That's right. So you see if you look at the bottom, those are the teams that are in the Sweet 16. Last year, the ones above were in there. Yeah. But look at that bottom row right there. Man, and then we go back to the other way, and then on this side right here, these are the same teams that was there last year. So there's at least 7 or 8 teams that have now returned to the Sweet 16. So they have experience. But don't be surprised if one of these teams that are making it in here for the first time in a while make some noise. Well, that's what I'm interested in.
Nebraska and Iowa. One of them's got to win, Mr. 4-1. So neither one of them. Heck, Nebraska wasn't even in the tournament last year. So
right.
So in Iowa, I can't remember. I think they said they didn't in the Sweet 16 since before COVID.
19. Yeah, it was a while, man, since they've been somewhere.
Sweet 16. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we need to cover today, calculator.
And like I said, I appreciate 4-1 setting this up because 4-1 said, "Hey, you got a lot to talk about, Mr. Calculator. Let me set up a show so you can get it all out." I said, "Okay, Mr. 4-1, set it up." And it's always good to review a bracket, take a breath, and know what games we want. So if you riding with our brackets, that's the games we're looking. Illinois, Houston. Those are the games that's your moneymaker right there. And Mr. 4-1, I might have to go dark if Illinois loses because I'm going to have to regroup and just brush my hair back and say better luck next year.
All right, well, we'll see what happens, calculator. There's so much more ball to be played here, and we'll see how it all shakes out. But look, I appreciate you being on again.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you for having me on, my friend.
All right. Make sure everybody hit that like, subscribe, the notification bell, and share because why, calculator?
Sharing, in the words of LT, our good friend LT. Sharing is caring, folks.
Yeah, shout out to LT.
LT,
Shout out to Todd. Shout out to Todd. Shout out to
yeah.
Carmen.
Hey, Todd. That's why. As soon as you sent me the link, it went to Todd, and I got a snapback reply. Heck yeah! Another
They're ready.
411 show. He likes to put it on in the background when he's doing his day trading.
Hey, there you go. All right. That's what you do. We appreciate that, Todd. And we're also on Spotify too. So check us out on Spotify, ladies and gentlemen. We're out there too.
Hey, Mr. 401's hitting the pavement, getting us out there. Hey, but hey, we trying to help people because what's that famous word? We're capitalists, right? We want everybody to make as much money as possible, and if we can help it in any way, that's what we're doing.
That's right. All right. Well, he's a calculator. I'm 411. Thank everybody. We'll see you down the road. Have a good one.